So, we've got a special guest here now, teleprompter, who happens to be running for president. How would he fight terror if he wins? Gary Johnson is the Libertarian Party's nominee. He's a former Republican governor of New Mexico, a lovely state. Welcome to the Five, Governor. How come you don't want to fight ISIS?
First of all, I agree with everything that you said on the premise of all that. I mean, it sets it all up.
Okay.
And yes, we are at war with terrorism. Make no bones about it. As President of the United States, we need to have an invincible national defense. But when we get involved in regime changes, I can't think of a single regime change in my life that has resulted in anything being better as opposed to being worse.
What about the Nazis?
Well, that wasn't in my lifetime.
Oh, okay.
So, you know.
But, Governor, didn't you say ISIS is cooked and contained? And
they are. Well,
the military by 20%?
Well, the BRAC Commission itself says.
Well, I'm just saying. You responded to Greg by saying, "Oh, we need a stronger military." I don't think the military.
By stronger military, we need a strong national defense. Make
right.
no bones
right.
about
but
it.
But you know that the people who believe that would say, cut the military 20%, Governor. How dare
you? That's the BRAC itself. That's the Pentagon appointing the BRAC Commission, and the BRAC Commission recommending that U.S. bases could be cut by 20%, and that hasn't happened. Well, that's term limits, and that's congressmen and women protecting their own turf in their own states, which I get that also. But look. Budget. We need to balance the federal budget. I think that we are headed to a fiscal cliff unless we address our spending. And, of course, at the heart of that is the entitlements, Medicaid and Medicare. And it's also Social Security. Am I being too serious? Should I lighten up a little bit?
No. Yeah, but we'll have a big group hug.
ISIS is serious.
What?
No, ISIS is a serious.
Yeah,
ISIS is serious. It's very serious. And people want to know that we are addressing ISIS. These inspired terrorist attacks coming from ISIS, I mean, that's the word. They're inspired. They're not they're not coming off the battlefield and going into war against the United States. But yes, we should have a vigilance to all of this. And you said, is there going to be an attack in the next 10 years? I think for the last 10 years we've been talking about the fact that there is going to be an attack. And,
can I ask you then about the ideological threat? Because I think that you would agree that we are fighting an ideology. So one of the things that's difficult is then how do you actually fight and win against an ideology where they want to destroy our way of life in Western civilization? You have ideas on that?
Well, you hit it on the head. And okay, so we wipe out ISIS. Well, we wipe out ISIS. We're going to create a void that ISIS came out of the void of Al-Qaeda. Regime change in Iraq, regime change in Libya, Syria. Look, we went in, this was not intentional, but Obama and Clinton go in and we support the opposition. What was the opposition in Syria? The Free Syrian Army, this mythical army that was going to oppose both ISIS and Assad, and we arm them, and in fact they get beaten, and the arms end up in ISIS hands. Well, this is what happens when we support regime change.
Mm-hmm. But so it's better to stand by and do nothing when you see ISIS having the cubs of caliphate, that they are burning people alive, that they're committing acts of crucifixion against children. I mean,
well,
to me that seems...
as bad as it is, and this is, you know, we hear about these horrible situations, and then politicians are thrust into, what are you going to do about it? And politicians, rather than go, well, gee, as bad as it is, are we going to make it any better? Well, probably
but
not,
don't you think
but nobody admits that. We get involved.
Yeah, I think it's very inconsistent with an American position of stepping in when we give humanitarian aid. Is it not the same thing to say, listen, I'm not going to stand by. I'll help if a child is starving for food, but I won't if it's being executed or crucified. I mean, it just seems
the child
to be
that's
a very
executed
immoral
and
position.
crucified by the group that we're opposing, we go in, we oppose the group, we wipe out the group. Along comes a new group, and the atrocities, children being killed, are are the same or worse.
But that argument could be applied to any kind of evil, because there will always be a new evil.
Right.
So you have to, like, you're a pacifist.
Yeah.
No, I reject the fact that libertarians are isolationists. We're non-interventionists. Look, when it comes to Syria, the solution to Syria is getting involved with Russia. If we don't align ourselves diplomatically with Russia to solve this, it's not going to get solved.
So I'm sitting here because I agree with a lot of things you're saying. It's fairly radical, but it's a libertarian stance, and I get that. Can I save my question for the next block? Because the governor's staying with us. And it's not about ISIS. It's about some of the other issues that I think make me a little bit nervous. I like you. You're a great guy, but there's something that scares me about it.
But let me just say, but hang on. Let me just say that you said go, yes, to what Greg said, but you disagree with Greg.
Juan calling you on it. All right.